Hello, my name is Kendall and today we're going to be crocheting a parrot. This is bird number 3 of my 5 bird collection. This is an easy pattern, not quite a beginner because the color change is a little bit harder. But this video covers everything you need to know, including how to make basic stitches in the magic ring and everything in between. For this video, I am using video clips of originally this adorable yellow bird. But as you can see, it's a little taller. I'm going to have text up on the screen that just says add a few more rounds here, add this here. But when it comes to the accessories and sewing it on, it's all going to be for this specific video. But the original base, because it's the same shape, I'm just going to insert clips from this, but have text pop up with additional rounds and all the information you need. For supplies, you're going to need medium weight for acrylic yarn in red, white, yellow, and blue. You'll also need stuffing, a tapestry needle, stitch marker, scissors, and a 5mm crochet hook, as well as 2 10mm crochet eyes. On November 1st, I will be releasing 5 crochet kits of all of these birds. Each kit comes with all the supplies you need, plus a full written PDF pattern of this tutorial so you can follow along with the video and the piece of paper in front of you and have all the supplies and colors that you need to make your birds. A little bird, a cardinal, this parrot, a seagull, and a pigeon. And I am so excited to be releasing them. But now enough about the future, let's start crocheting our birds. So we're gonna start with our yellow yarn, and we're gonna start by making a magic ring or a magic circle. It's the same thing. I'm gonna take my crochet hook. I have my yarn. This is our tail, our dead end, the end of your yarn. This is the yarn that's attached to the ball or the skein. You're going to take it and wrap it around your hand to form an X. You're going to hold it in the middle. Hook goes under, then over, and we're going to scoop this underneath. Just like that. We're going to twist it up and pull it off our hands. And then do this thing called a chain, which is when we pull our yarn through our loop. So I'm going to put the yarn on the crochet hook and pull through. And that's our magic ring. But let me show you again. I have my tail, wrap around to make an X, hold in the middle, under, over, pull through, twist up, and then do our chain. We're then going to make 6 single crochets in this loop. Our single crochets are one of the smallest, most basic stitches of crochet. You'll find it in tons of the stuffed animal or amigurumi patterns. Crocheters love single crochets. To do one, you're going to insert your hook in the middle of the loop, yarn over, which is when we place the yarn on top of the hook, pull through. So we have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and then pull through both loops. And that's 1 single crochet. So again, I'm going to go through the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops, and that's a second. Through the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. That was stitch 3. So I'm going to do 4, 5, and 6. Each stitch is this little V, a little oval. Can't see it too well on the sides. If I pull it apart a little bit, you can see it's that's a stitch. I'm going to take my tail and pull it so that it actually forms this cute little ring. And now we have the start of our crochet piece. These are our stitch markers, which are like little clothespin, safety pin looking things. Safety pins, not clothespins. Looking things. We're going to attach it into the last stitch that we made, that V. Close it up. This is going to help us find the beginning and the end when we're working in our rounds. Because we're going to be working in a spiral, so we're just going to keep on going around and around and around. So this will make sure we know the beginning and the end of each round. Our magic ring with the 6 single crochets, that was 1 round. So now we're going on to round 2, which according to our pattern says increase 6 times. An increase is just 2 single crochets next to each other. So we have 6 stitches. At the end of round 2, we should have 12. So we're going to put 2 stitches in each of the 6, so that we have 12. So we're just doubling it. I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch that we made. The first one's always a little tight. It's not you, it's the crochet piece. Just kind of wiggle, stick it in. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. Yarn over, pull through again. So I have 1 single crochet. Before we move on, I'm going to stick my crochet hook in the same stitch and do another single crochet. So now we have 2 in 1 stitch. I like to picture it like a little flower, so we have like a small beginning, but then we want even petals on the side, so it kind of gets bigger evenly. I'm going to move to the next stitch. Again, I'm working in a spiral, so I'm literally just scooting over and do another increase. So that's 1 single crochet, and then in the same hole, doing a second. And then I'll do that again. And again. Moving over. I'm in my last one, and this is my cat Cashew. He likes to help with videos sometimes. I'm sure his sister Peanut's gonna help too. I'm gonna take out my stitch marker. I'm gonna do our increase. And then I'm gonna put the stitch marker back in to the new end of the round. So we're kind of moving it up each time. And now we have this small little circle, which is round 1 and round 2. You should have 12 single crochets at the end of this round. And you can count them by looking at those V's. Grab my tapestry needle. So like that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do this all the way around, so you have 12. The next round, round 3, it says we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. And there's a comma in that bracket, which is important. So in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're done with that. In the next stitch, that comma means we're moving over. We're going to be doing an increase, which is again, those 2 single crochets. So this repetition for the round is a little series of 3. 1, and then an increase. Or in my head, sometimes I'll say double. So 1, and then a double. And we're gonna repeat this. So the next stitch, we're gonna do 1, and then the next stitch, a double or an increase. And we're gonna do this for the whole round. So 1, and then a double. One, then a double. And I I know I'm crocheting fast. Hey, I've done it since I was 14 years old. Don't forget, 1, pause this video. I will still be here for you. As well as that in the corner, the little gears button, you can change the speed. So yeah, I'll sound a little funny, but you can watch me slow down these stitches and it might be a little easier. You can see at the end I removed my stitch marker, did my last increase, and then want to put it back. And our circle's getting a little rounder, a little bigger. You can tell it kind of curls up a little bit. That's okay. That's normal. No biggie. If it's curling up a lot, you might have messed up the pattern a little bit. You might have put too many increases. So you might want to take it out and kind of make sure you're counting. At the end of this row, you should have 18. Another thing to remember, this is our tail from that very beginning magic ring. This is the inside. So if you're looking at it and you're like, mine's kind of ugly. My stitches aren't clean. This tail's in the way. What am I doing? Boop. Just turn it around. If you followed my tutorial for my crochet plants, a lot of people will show me their crocheted pot and they'll be like, hey, mine's ugly and it doesn't sit weird and it sits super weird and it's off. And then I'm like, flip it inside out. Boom. They did amazing work and they did it right. You just gotta flip it around. Next round, you're gonna start seeing a pattern here. It says 2 single crochets and then an increase. So single crochet 2 is different than an increase. So we're gonna do 1, 1, and then an increase. In newer crochet patterns, as in the past 10 years, you'll notice the word increase. Sometimes people use 2 single crochets instead. I find that confusing. If you follow any Lousy Llama crochet patterns, I will always say increase versus single crochet 2. If I'm saying single crochet 2, I mean 1 and then 1 and then an increase. Well, let's not get confusing here. So we're going to do 1, 1, and then an increase. 1, 1, and then an increase. And we'll do this for the whole round. One, 1, increase. 1, 1, increase. 1, 1, take out the marker, increase. And then put it back in. And now we have a bigger circle. Again, you can see mine curving a little bit. That's okay. Okay, I'm at the end of the round. And now instead of doing more increases, we're going to do rounds of single crochets. So a little tip, instead of putting this through the stitch like we normally do, I'm actually going to put it on the side of the stitch. That way we don't have to move it every single round. This works when we're doing 1 single crochet in every stitch. Not so much when you're doing something precise like 2 single crochets and then an increase, because you want that to be really exact. But for this, it's okay if it's not. So we're not going to do any increases. We're just going to do 5 rounds of single crochet. So you're literally just going to do 1 single crochet in every single stitch. We'll do this for 5 rounds, but I'll show you when we get around to the stitch marker how we're kind of ignoring it and continuing on. This also works because we're crocheting in a spiral instead of joining for each round. We just continuously keep on working. All right, coming around, I'm not gonna move my stitch marker. I'm just continuing to crochet. See? And now I can see I did one. So I'm gonna go around 5 times and it sort of lines up with the stitch marker. So go ahead and single crochet for 5 rounds. Okay, this was 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I kind of lined it up with the stitch marker. Now I'm going to take this out and put it back in our stitch because our next round is going to be more precise like we did earlier. The next round is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. So similar to the 2 single crochets and then an increase, but with 3. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. And we'll repeat that for a total of 6 times all the way around. 1, 2, 3, increase. 2, 3, increase. I also want to take a note here, if my piece looks bigger than yours, I'm using some spare yarn I have, which I believe is a little different than the yarn you have in your kits. This yarn is feeling very stiff today. I'm not exactly sure why. But if you're like, mine's coming out smaller, don't worry, that's completely normal. This is just really stiff today. Okay, coming around the end, taking out our marker, doing the last increase. Yeah, it looks so big. My sample was not this big. Now I'm going to put my stitch marker on the side again because we're going to be doing more rounds of single crochet if I can get it. We are going to do 6 rounds of single crochets. So just 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 6 rounds. Now you can see our piece is starting to actually look like a bird, or at least a blob, which I think birds look like. We're going to repeat the same thing like backwards. So our last round of increases was 3 single crochets increase. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets decrease. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. For a decrease, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, kind of like the beginning of a single crochet. Instead of finishing it off, I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch next to it. Yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Because you're combining 2 stitches, you'll want to make sure you pull a little extra tight when you're making it, just because you're literally pulling your crochet piece closer together. And if they're loose, you'll see the stuffing. So I'll do my 3 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3, and then decrease, insert, yarn over, pull through, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you're going to repeat this for the round. So 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, and then our very last decrease for the round. The next round is going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So 1, 2, decrease, all the way around, pulling nice and tight. 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, and 1, 2, taking out our marker, decrease. Next round is probably what you would have guessed, 1 single crochet and then a decrease. I know it's getting tight, it's getting stiff, but you are physically pulling your piece together, so hang in there. It's okay. This takes a little bit getting used to. 1 single crochet and then a decrease. Decreases was something that took me a little bit to master as a beginner. They used to be really loose, so you can like see all my stuffing. It takes a lot to like remember to tighten your tension and do things a little differently. That's okay. One of the cool parts about this project is that the decreases are on the bottom. So if your top is pretty, no one's really gonna see the bottom, especially if you have it displayed on like a little shelf or something, or on your desk. No one really sees it. Okay. 1 more decrease. Okay, we're gonna pause here for a sec and we're actually gonna stuff our little bird. I have my pouch of stuffing. We're not gonna need all of this. The best stuffing technique is to pull apart into small clumps and place it individually. That way you kind of have control over the shape. And it also uses less stuffing. If you just ball the whole thing up, you'll use all the stuffing, but you actually don't really need it, especially if you want it to remain nice and fluffy. So I'm just gonna keep on pulling small clumps. Obviously placing at the head first, because that's further away. And then the body. I want my bird Blitz to be as round as possible. So I'm going to stuff him extra on the sides. I'm also, you can tell when I'm stuffing, I kind of pull my working yarn away. If you stuff it inside, that's fine. You'll just have to pull it out and that might pull out some of the stuffing. So it's just kind of easier if you pull it around before. Okay, he's getting there. It's looking like a little pill or it looks like a peep, really, is what it looks like. Well, we don't got peeps here. He is Blitz the bird, so he's gonna have to look like a bird. I'm shaping him, kind of forming his neck a little bit more. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Cute. Yeah, see, this is all the extra stuffing. You'll have extra stuffing. On the bottom, we need to do 6 decreases. The bottom is difficult. The last round of decreases is usually difficult. It's hard to see and you might skip some stitches, and that's okay. We're just gonna try to get 6 decreases. If you don't, that is a-okay. And you'll just close it up a different way. So I'm gonna do 1. I kind of pinch mine, even though we worked so hard on the shaping. We'll fix it at the end, because it's easier for me to get my hook into my stitches. So my second decrease out of 6. 3. Oh yeah, it's tight. 4. 5. Oh, I think that's all I got right now. I don't think I can fit the 6th one because of how tight it is, and that's okay. The hole's still pretty small. I'm gonna fasten off, so cut that nice long tail, pull our loop through, and we're gonna sew up the bottom. So if your bottom's a little gappy, it has some spaces in it, no big deal. You could fix it now. Put my tail on my needle, And you can close the bottom however you want. I like doing it the cinch closure way, which means I'm going to go in all the stitches on the outside and pull tight. Just like that, and pull. I'm going to add a knot just so it doesn't come undone. Slide my knot all the way to the end. Boom. Now we don't just want to cut our yarn because it can come undone. We're going to do this thing called hiding our tails. With a 3D object like Blitz, it's super easy. My tail's on my tapestry needle. I'm going to poke right through where our tail is. Make sure a couple inches through and poke out anywhere else. Don't pull too tight, you'll change the shape. And then you can cut this off. So now for it to come undone, it's going to have to come out multiple inches and through the knot and through the fastening off, and that's more unlikely. We have a body. For the beak, we're going to start it the exact same way that we started your body of your parrot. I'm going to start with that magic ring. Chain 1 and then 6 single crochets. If I just went too fast, please go to the beginning of the video and you can see all of it step by step, way slower. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then the next round we are going to single crochet 6. So no increases or decreases, we're literally just putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next round is going to be 6 increases, exactly the same as we did the body. So just 2 single crochets in every stitch so that our 6 stitches become 12. You can use a stitch marker, but because it's so small, I think it's easier to count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, and 12. For the last round, we're going to single crochet 12. So no increases or decreases, just 1 single crochet in every stitch. Again, you can use a stitch marker, but because it's so small, I think it's easier to count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And here's our beak. I'm going to cut a nice long tail because we're going to be using it for sewing. Cut. And fasten off. And that's how we have our beak. For the eyes, instead of placing it directly on the body, we're going to put it on a piece of white and then sew it onto the body, so a little different. I'm going to start this white eyeball the exact same way we started the body and the beak, with that magic ring. Chain 1, 6 stitches, 6 single crochets. So that was our chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Our last round is going to be 6 increases. So 2 single crochets in every stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. To make our piece look a little rounder, we're going to do 1 slip stitch in the next stitch. For a slip stitch, you're going to insert your hook into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. And this kind of helps our piece just have a rounder look. Cut off a tail, fasten off, and now we have the white part. To add your eye, I'm just going to take my safety eyes, I'm using 10 millimeters, push it through the middle of the magic ring, and put the back on. Just like that. You'll want to make 2 of them for your parrot. Our wings and our tail are very similar with a really slight change. So I'm going to start by showing you the wings that you'll want to make 2 of, and then I'll show you the tail. For the wings, you're going to start with yellow, make that magic ring, chain 1, and then 6 single crochets, exactly like we've been starting everything for this project. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next round is going to be 6 increases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to put my stitch marker in. The next round is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 increase, just like how when we were doing the body. So 1 single crochet and then an increase. 1 and an increase. 1 increase. All the way around. One increase, 1 increase. Going to put my marker back in. The next round is going to start the same, but it's going to end a little different. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase, but we're only going to do it twice because we're going to change colors in that last one. So 1, 2 single crochets, increase, 1, 2 single crochets, and then that increase, I'm going to change colors in that last stitch. So we place 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. I just finished my first one. To do my second, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, so you have 2 loops. Instead of yarning over with yellow, I'm actually going to yarn over with the blue. I'm going to hook it on my hook, hold it, and pull through. And then repeat the rest of the round of 2 single crochets, 1 increase, but with the blue yarn. 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, and then we're going to do 1 slip stitch in the next stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, just like that. You're going to cut your tails, leave the yellow one pretty long so that we can use it to sew and fasten off. Hi, Kendall here from the future. I realized when I was filming the tail I made a mistake, so I'm popping this in before I show you how to do the tail. Instead of yellow for the tail, it should be red. I don't know why I thought it was yellow. It is not, it is red. So you're going to follow the exact same instructions, but instead of yellow, please do red. The wings are yellow and blue. The tail is red and yellow. So popping this in, now continue on with the video. Just don't forget it's red and yellow. For the tail, it's going to start the exact same way as the wings. Magic ring, 6 single. For the tail, it's going to start the exact same way we did the wings. Magic ring, 6 single crochets. The next round, 6 increases. The next round, 1 single crochet, 1 increase. The last round is going to be very similar to the wings with the color change, but we're going to do a little bit of a different color change. Instead of doing 2 sequences in yellow and then 4 in blue, we're going to do 3 sequences in yellow and 3 in blue. So I'm going to start by doing 2 single crochets, 1 increase. 1, 2, increase. I want to do this a total of 3 times. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase, but I'm going to change colors that last round with the blue. And then finish the round. One, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. And the last one, 1, 2. Take out my marker. Increase and do that 1 slip stitch. And that's how we're going to do our tail. We're going to cut our yarn, fasten off. For the wings and the tail, you're going to have to weave in these ends a little differently than how we did on that 3D body where we have that stuffing and we have room. This guy's going to be a little different. I'm going to weave in all 3 tails except for the long yellow that we're going to use to sew. So I want to weave these in, leave this so I can sew. I have my tapestry needle. I want to put the tail on. I'm going to weave it in. Because I can't stick this through, because it will show, I'm going to start on the back and I'm going to try to push it through the stitches. I'm going to try to do this in 3 different directions. So that was 1. I'll go the opposite direction. Try not to make it show on the front, just on the back. 3, and then we'll do 1 more. Well, that was 2, excuse me. We'll do the 3rd one. There. Then we'll cut it. I'm going to do the same things with the blues, but I'm going to keep it in the blue. We don't want to do it on the yellow because it could show through the front. So I'm just going to weave it 3 different times on the blue. So here's 1. Go back down. And back up. And then do the same with the last blue. One, two, and then one more. And you'll want to weave in the tails the exact same way on the tail piece and the two wings. I want to start by sewing on the beak. I'm going to cut that middle tail just a little bit so I have some wiggle room, but I'm going to shove the rest of it inside. It's going to be used for stuffing. I'm going to put on my tapestry needle. And I'm going to hold it right where I want it. As I say in all of my videos, there are 100 different ways to sew pieces on. I say do whatever works for you and gets your pieces on. It doesn't really matter as long as your pieces stay. What I like to do for a piece like this is go from beak to body, so yellow to red, and then back up just through yellow. So again, down through yellow and then through red, up just through yellow. And I want to do this all the way around. All right, my last one, I'm going to weave in my tail by putting it anywhere in the body. You should do this on the back. I just was holding it weird and didn't, but poke it through, hide the tail. For the eyes, I am going to trim that middle piece again, not too close. You can technically weave it in if you want to. I just don't really feel the need. Then I'm going to hold my eye right where I want it, and I'm going to sew using the same technique that I did for the beak. I'm going to do white to red, back up through white, white to red, back up to white. And we'll do this all the way around and hide the tail the exact same way. For the wings and the tail, you can do the same method of sewing on that you just did, but I like to do a different one just because I like it to move differently. So I'm going to hold my wing right where I want it. I'm going to do something called a whip stitch. And that, instead of going and then the other direction, we're just going to go around and around and around. So it's like yellow to red, yellow to red, yellow to red. Make sure you're pulling tight because we don't want our yellow tail to show. But I want to do this only on the yellow part. I'm going to leave the blue unsewn, and that's going to give our bird wings a little bit of movement. You want to do the exact same thing for the tail as well. But I'm just going to do this on the yellow. Usually I'm holding this guy in my lap, so it's a little easier than doing it on a table. So if you're struggling, don't forget you can put it on your lap and kind of hold it a little easier. Great, and now I'm going to hide that tail, exact same way we've been doing it. Yeah, I like that because then I can flip it up, I can poof it out, and it looks pretty good. For that little tuft of hair on top, I'm going to cut a piece of blue yarn, put it on my tapestry needle, and I'm going to poke it through the original magic ring. I know my bird looks ridiculous with only one eye. I still need to add the other ones in the wings. I'm going to tie a knot and place the knot as close to the body as I can get it. Pull nice and tight. Do our first trim, And then we're going to separate all the strands. You can use your needle, your scissors, your fingers, whatever gets the job done. I usually put this in my lap or on a blanket, and I run my scissors through it, but it's a little loud to do that on my table. I'm then going to push this knot into his head. Ah! Cool. And do a final trim. Shape it however you want. For the parrot, I've just been doing a straight line. As opposed to like this guy that I kind of do like a little triangle. So I'm just going straight across. So I still need the other wing, the other eye, and the tail. But that's the majority of the body. We do have to embroider the feet. So I'm going to take a long piece of yellow. Put it on my tapestry needle. I'm going to line these up with the eyes like a little further in, so kind of like the sides of the beaks. I'm going to start from the bottom and poke out where I want the start of my feet to be. I'm going to pull through, leaving a tail on the bottom so we don't pull all the way through. I'm then going to, basically I like to use the word draw my little feet. So like that's one little toe, the other toe, and then the other one. For the parrot, I like to go over them twice so they're a little thicker, but it depends on the bird and the look that I'm going for. But for the parrot, I feel like they have nice, strong feet. Yes, Peanut did show up. Most of the time she's locked out of the room, but I was trying to see if she's going to be good today. The answer was no, but here she is. One foot, and do the exact same thing for the other foot. And you can do your feet however you want, if you want them closer or further apart or whatever you like your little bird feet to look like. This is bird number 3 of my 5 bird collection, so I feel like I have tried many different feet so far, and I like them for all my birds to look a little different. I separate my strands a little bit, but that's okay. And then my final one, I'll poke out the bottom again. I'm gonna trim, and then I'm gonna shove these in. You don't want to trim too close because then your thing will come undone. So I like to leave a pretty big tail inside. And now we have, well, I have half a bird. Now I have half a parrot. Thank you so much for joining me today as we crocheted this adorable little parrots. If you liked this tutorial, if you could please like and subscribe, and that way I can continue to grow the channel and provide more tutorials for crochet for everyone. If you want to stay up to date on everything Lousy Llama, follow us at TikTok or Instagram at Lousy Llama Creations for updates on new kits and sales and products and patterns and everything in between. Again, my name is Kendall, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!